I want to thank each and every one of you for being here for this occasion. As I look around the crowd, whether you are part of the family of Scott Harper, whether you knew him as a student, a fellow student at Alexander, whether you knew Marine Lance Corporal Scott Harper as part of the force that we had in Afghanistan, each of you come here today with your own individual memories and your own individual perspectives. But we also come here united. We come united to honor and to recognize a young man who gave his all so that we could have the freedoms that we enjoy. In just a minute, Mayor Persons will come up. You will also hear from Commission Chairman Worthan, District Attorney McDade. But when we finish with the program here, we will be going across the ring road to where there will be the unveiling of the signage. We will have police cars that will be blocking the road for your safety, but please be very careful as you go across the road. Also, please be very careful as you come back after the conclusion of this ceremony. We want everybody to get back to their cars, obviously very safe. But again, thank you for being here for what is a special occasion for a special young man that touched each of our lives. And at this time, I would like to call up to the podium the Mayor of the City of Douglasville, Mayor Harvey Persons.
Thank you, Bill. First of all, let me say that it's certainly an honor and a privilege to be able to stand up here today and take part in the ceremony that we're having. And that ceremony is to honor Marine Lance Corporal Scott Boots Harper. And in honoring Scott, or Lance Corporal Harper, we're honoring this individual for something that he did, and that was to give his life for our country and our community. And that sacrifice was truly the ultimate sacrifice. A lot of times you hear the word freedom. Freedom. What does it mean? The word freedom is a misnomer, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing free about it. There are people that have fought, that have served, and some have ultimately paid the supreme sacrifice, and that is to give of their life for something that they believe in. And hold very dear. And that's certainly the supreme sacrifice, to give of your life for what you believe in, and that's the freedoms that we all experience each and every day. There's nothing free about it. And Marine Lance Corporal Scott Boots Harper gave that supreme sacrifice, and that was his life. But not only Marine Corporal Lance Harper, but the families, the friends, the people that held him dear and near, they sacrificed. We as a community sacrificed. And if you don't hold freedom near and dear to your heart, then you should. Because people over the years have fought and died that we could enjoy what we enjoy today. And that is the freedoms that we experience. So we're here today, first of all, because of what Marine Corporal Lance Harper did, but also because of our district attorney and the comments that he's going to share with you a little bit later on, and what brought us also to this event here today. But I won't elaborate on that. I'll save those comments for him to make. But I want to applaud each and every one of you for being here today. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here, be a part of, and remember the sacrifice that was given. The individuals that are behind us here, I thank you for your dedication, your commitment, and your willingness to serve. A lot of the people that are here today have served in our armed forces that we might enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. I applaud you for that. In 2 days, we're going to be celebrating Veterans Day. To some people, Veterans Day is just another day. But to some people, it's a day that they remember what it's all about, and that's the sacrifice and the giving that individuals, families, friends, communities have sacrificed and given. So on November the 11th at 11 o'clock, I would encourage you to take a few moments to pause, to remember, to recognize the service, the dedication and commitment that individuals have made so that we can do just as we're doing today. Freely express, freely discuss, freely worship, participate in commerce. There's nothing free about it, folks. Thank you for being here today. And at this, when Chairman Wortham gets through with his comments, I believe he'll introduce our district attorney, David McDade, to make some more comments. And then I'll come back up. We have a resolution that we want to give to the family. We've done so a little bit earlier in a council meeting, but we want to make it official today. And then, as City Manager Bill Osborne said, we'll move across the street to do the unveiling. So at this time, I'd like to very proudly introduce my friend and our county chairman, Tom Wortham.
Good afternoon. And I too want to thank you for being here. I also want to thank the Lord for creating this beautiful day to honor our local hero. You know, these are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. That still applies today. Scott Harper stood tall in his service to our country. Thomas Jefferson once wrote, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots." Scott Harper was a true patriot. It's because of patriots like Scott that the tree of liberty is alive and well. On days like today, we remember the service, we appreciate the sacrifice, and we honor the man. We remember, appreciate, and honor Scott Harper today. God bless you, and God bless the Harper family. And now I want to invite our district attorney, Mr. David McDade, who started this whole process, and ask him for his comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Worthan and Mayor Persons. I didn't start this. The young man who went home to be with his Lord last October started this. About 6 or 7 weeks ago, I had the privilege of being in a local restaurant. Was just there on my own to pick up food. And this couple walked into that restaurant, and I kind of looked at them, and they kind of looked at me. And in my line of work, people look at me kind of funny all the time. And they sat down at a booth, and we just kind of looked back and forth a couple times at each other. And Brian, after a couple of minutes, asked me could he speak to me about something, and I said, certainly. A lot of people come up to me in public and ask, can they speak to me? I didn't recognize Brian, although I'd been one of the many thousands that stood on the side of the road last October when Scott was brought home. I didn't have the privilege of knowing him personally. And so when he asked could he speak to me, I assumed it was going to be about some case in court or something that I was dealing with at work. And he said, I want to talk to you about doing something for my son, Scott Harper. And I froze, and I said, don't say another word. I couldn't really speak myself, because in that moment I realized that this family, with the loss that they had, they were reaching out, and I was ashamed that I hadn't reached out to them. Mr. Harper asked me did I think that there was any possibility that this community would do something to honor his memory. And I said, don't say another word. Just let us take care of that. let you take care of that, and let you take care of that, and let you take care of that. I knew without any hesitation that the community here in Douglas County loved that young man, loved this family, and would be honored to show how much we love that young man and his sacrifice. So it took about 30 seconds of conversation, and then about 30 more seconds of conversations with the elected leadership in this community. And the problem was not that people didn't want to help, it was that everyone wanted to help. Alan Denice, Jeff Knowles, Eric Linton, just a number of people stepped forward, and I commend you all. But most of all, I commend the Harper family. I commend you for sharing your son with us. I commend you for allowing him to be a son of Douglas County. We share, and we would be proud to call him our son. And I will always call him a son of mine and a son of Douglas County. This isn't about politicians. This is about this family and the sacrifice that young man made. I am honored that you allowed me to help. That's all I want to say. This is about you and about your family and that son that will forever be a son of Douglas County. And after today, everybody in the world that drives down this road will know what he means to us. And I appreciate you, and thank you. Mayor Persons, I believe at this time, is going to come back and address the resolution itself.
Can I say something?
Certainly, certainly.
I'd just like to thank everybody for being here. There's some people who traveled several hours to be here this morning from out of state. I'd like to thank you for that, for your time. Some people here, someone said earlier that a lot of these people here today are friends of Scott's from home and fellow Marines. But some people here have never even met Scott. I just want to thank those people as well, you know. And I'm very proud of my son, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's here today. Thank you to this young man for being here, all these Patriot Guard riders for taking time out of their day to be here and honor him. It's very humbling, and I'm just very grateful to everyone for that. Thank you.
Thank you, and I won't be long-winded. I've got a resolution that I want to read, but before I read it, like David McDade said, this is not about politics. This is not about elected officials. This is about Marine Corporal Lance Scott Boots Harper, his family, this community, and what it means. Look around you. This is America. This is our community. This is our community and our family pulling together to support other families in their sacrifice and what they've done and what they've given up. Not only Lance Corporal Harper, but like I said, the families and the sacrifice and what they've given up, the friends and our community. Like David said, when he called me one day and started and said, you know, that he had talked to the family and wanted to know what, and I'm like David. I said, hey, you know, we'll do what, you know, tell me. And he said, well, we're going to have a meeting, and I talked to the chairman and the chairman, and What do we, how do we do? What do we do? How do we recognize? We want to show our appreciation as a community. And like I said, it's about sacrifice, community, and what we do for one another. So let me read this resolution, if I may. And this is a resolution that we presented to the Harper family during council, but I felt that it'd be appropriate to read it here today. It says, whereas the city of Douglasville desires to honor and to remember the life and service of one of this community's finest and best young men, Marine Lance Corporal Scott Harper. And whereas although Lance Corporal Scott Boots Harper was still a young man at the time of his death, while serving his nation, he made a positive, lasting impression on many people who met him, whether at Alexander High School and in various places in Douglasville and Douglas County community, or at places of deployment as a member of the United States Marine Corps. And whereas Boots Harper, this nickname being the result of his classmates' reaction to him wearing boots with gym shorts on, many of you probably remember that day, at Alexander High School when he forgot his tennis shoes for gym class. Was a fun-loving and popular student who was on the school's golf team and for 4 years, and who graduated in 2008. And whereas after deciding he wanted to be a United States Marine, he enlisted at the Marine Corps recruiting office located inside Arbor Place Mall, where we stand today. And whereas Scott Harper was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 2nd Marine Regiment, 2nd Marine Division, 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and was deployed twice to Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, with the second time as a member of the 1st Battalion, 6th Marine Regiment. And whereas Marine Lance Corporal Scott Harper, on October the 13th, 2011, made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of freedom and in the service of the United States of America. And whereas his mother, Deborah Busman Staples, his father, Brian Harper, his brother, Mitchell Staples, his sister, Amber Staples, his stepmother, Angela Harper, his stepmother, his stepbrother, Joseph Halsey, his stepsister, Holly Halsey Harp, his paternal grandmother, Diana Harper, his paternal grandfather, the late George Harper, his maternal grandparents, J.R. Buzz and Janet Busman, his maternal great-grandmother, Ezra Streetman, and his other family members and countless friends have a tremendous sense of pride and love for this young man, as well as a deep sense of loss, which certainly is understandable. And whereas the great outpouring of respect and admiration for this member of our armed forces was clear last fall when thousands of people lined the highway and streets in Douglasville and Douglas County when Lance Corporal Scott Harper was brought home from a war where he had distinguished himself so bravely. And whereas the city of Douglasville believes it is an appropriate rate and place to remember and recognize Scott Boots Harper would be through the designation of that section of Douglas Boulevard in front of Arbor Place Mall in his honor and memory. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Douglasville that we designate this section of Douglas Boulevard in honor and memory of Marine Lance Corporal Scott Harper, with appropriate signage being erected adjacent to this city street. Be it further resolved by the mayor and members of the city council that we acknowledge our appreciation to this family, and that a copy of this resolution be presented to his family as a testament to the outstanding legacy of this young man. So be resolved this 5th day of November 2012. And let me say this is a resolution that is being presented on behalf of the city, but it's a resolution, I believe I can say, that's being presented on behalf of not only the city elected body, but the county elected body, all of the elected officials that have been involved in this process, and all of the staff, and you as a community. I hope I can speak for you in saying that this is a resolution that we as a body and as a community want to present to this family. And I'm going to take that privilege, if it's all right with you, to present this resolution on behalf of this entire community to this family for the sacrifice that they've made, but the ultimate sacrifice that their son made on our behalf. When got the news that Lance Corporal Harper had passed away, and read it in the newspaper, and then also was there when they brought Lance Corporal home, for some reason didn't really connect that I knew Brian many, many years ago, and certainly traded with him, and when they had the sporting goods store down here on Highway 5. But we had an occasion during this process to talk and reconnect over the phone one day, and we were talking about it, and then once we got connected, we talked about the procession and what went on, and just the outpouring of the community as a whole, and the people that lined the streets when they brought Scott home. And Brian said, you know, he said, I've heard a lot about it. He said, I've seen some news clips about it. But he said, you know, he said, I never really got to see the procession. He said, I really never got to see what was going on. And I told him, I said, I stood there that day on the street corner and watched as the guard came by, police car after police car after police car came by, people came by, and you could tell. I mean, I watched the eyes of the officers and the people that came by. They were visibly moved and touched by what was going on. And Brian said, you know, he said, well, you know, I've heard about that. And he said, but, you know, he said, I never really got to see the procession itself because I was riding in the hearse that day when we brought him home. So I got in touch with our city TV folks, and I asked them, I said, did anybody, you know, was anybody there? Did we video? Did we take or whatnot? And they said, yeah, we did. We videoed the whole procession. So today, I've got a CD, Brian, that you'll get to see that entire procession. And I watched it, and it's very moving. But the day that the ambulance came through and was right there on Church Street in the filming, it was kind of ironic in that there was one of the guard, and I'm not sure which one, was on a motorcycle leading the hearse, and there were two flags that were on the back of one of the motorcycles. And in this video, you see the United States flag, but just as it passes, that Marine Corps flag unfolds. So it's a very touching video. You haven't been able to see it, but want to give it to you, and again, thank you. So with that, what we're going to do at this time, we're going to move across the street. We'll unveil the signs that, and I would like to comment that the signs that you'll see have been donated by Deny Sign Company. And I know that this is not a plug for Deny Sign, and he's probably going to say something to me afterwards. But when we talked about it and we approached about getting some signage done, they stepped forward and said, hey, but that's a part of that sense of community that we've got and wanting to pull together. And today's indicative of that. And I thank you. I thank the Guard, and I thank all that have participated. So if you'd like, we'll move across the street at this time and unveil the signs that dedicate this portion to Lance Corporal Scott Boots Harper.